Hey everybody, welcome into the next episode of the This Is How We Roll podcast. We're so excited to go over another story from the Sowing a Seed challenge that we gave the church. This week we get to have Pastor Logan on as we talk to him about some of the stuff that the kids ministry is doing and how he is teaching the next generation how to sow a seed and to give generously. So we're excited to get into that. We hope that you've been enjoying this series, and just feel free to continue following for more. All right. Well, again, welcome back into the podcast. This week, you're with me, Pastor Jonathan, Pastor Hunter, and Pastor Logan. So good to see you guys.
Yeah. Good to be here. See you. This is crazy.
I know, it's crazy.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about just really getting your kids involved with giving and teaching them how to be generous, and not really just in the act of giving money, but what it's like to cultivate the heart of a giver. Yeah. And what it means to give generously and to give joyfully and all these different things. And so we've got a story that we're going to look at from somebody who sowed a seed and sent in their story. And then we've got some stuff in the kids ministry specifically that we're going to talk about. But again, if you're just jumping in, if this is the first episode you've listened to, what we're talking about is from, we had a challenge as a church that Pastor Jason gave a couple months ago that we called Sowing a Seed. And this is where the church gave out envelopes ranging from anywhere from $20 to $50 per envelope. And each member of the congregation got one. And they were just challenged to take that money and go and sow a seed of generosity in the community. And the only thing we really asked for in return was the story. And so this is a podcast this season is all about going through those stories and just kind of seeing how people are putting their faith into action, or kind of like how this is starting out. And so it's just super encouraging to see all the stuff that the Lord's been doing through this. So, do you guys have any thoughts before we get into the story?
I'm just excited to get into the story.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we've got a story from Tyler Irwin and his family, and it's a really cool one. We were looking at it, and he said a few weeks ago, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, Tyler and his wife took Pastor Jason's challenge to live generously, and they actually took the challenge to the next step, and they invited their kids to join them. And they had a combined $55, which is super cool because you look at that and it doesn't seem like that much money, and they made the decision to go, and you, Logan, might know more about this than I do. It's Compassion. Is that what it's called? Is it Compassion International?
Yeah, Compassion International.
Compassion International. And they have the program where you can like adopt a kid in a different country, and you can go in and like kind of like you'll send them money and just help provide food and like education and stuff like that. And so they got to go and like pick the kid and all that stuff, and they had their daughter who they had her jump in and help kind of select who the person was. And in the story, they just talked about how there was just so many similarities between their daughter and this little girl that they adopted. And just, I guess it really resonated with their daughter and just the similarities. And it really painted the picture of this could be me.
Yeah.
I think. And I think when you can look at people and think, like, what are the things that is in my life that like maybe I could be in your position. I could be, I don't know where dinner comes from tonight, or like whatever that looks like. And I think that helps make generosity more personal. Yeah. Right. It's like you just feel like what would I wish that somebody would give to me in this situation?
Yeah.
And so
something I really love about the story is obviously they get Sienna as their daughter, and they get her involved, and it says that she had this immediate connection when she was flipping through the pages. Like she had this immediate connection with this other little girl, and this other little girl and her actually end up sharing a birthday.
Oh yeah.
And so like that's just such a cool, like, it just really put, it's really easy then to make that connection of like, finding those similarities and stuff like that. And so I just think it was really cool watching like how they were able to take that challenge and get their kids involved with the sowing a seed, instead of it just being, the adults make the decision and they go do something with it.
Yeah.
But actually involving her, and then just getting to watch like what that means for her. Like immediately in the story, they said that, they found out that they shared a birthday. She made this connection, and immediately she started writing a letter to this girl.
Yeah.
Like, just so cool to watch. Like, it would have been very easy as for the adult to just make the adult decision and be like, this is what we're doing with the money.
Yeah.
But instead, they got their kids involved and were able to make it something that is generational instead of just the adult does what the adult does,
Yeah, and like generosity kind of means going like above and beyond what you need to do, and so I do love that, because they'd already done what they like needed to do, right? And so they actually spent it said like $40 or $43 or whatever on the adoption, and then they were able to just send all the rest of the money as a gift, and just. I mean, that's a gift that little girl's probably never gotten before. Yeah. And so, and this is cool because while you can have letters and stuff like that, the odds are they'll never actually get to experience the full impact that they have on this little girl. But they are making an impact, and they're sowing a seed. And so that's super awesome. So I love the emphasis though on the family getting together and doing this together, because it does create a lasting legacy, I think, in our kids. So,
well, and the other thing is it's not just a one-time payment either. Like they said, Tyler, like this is now a monthly thing that they're doing with their kids, which is awesome to see, because they said at the end they're going to continue to give to this little girl. And so that also shows that like just with the little amount of money they got, they did it the one time, and now they're like, well, we're going to continue to do it as a family. And so I think that's impactful also for the kids to see, I got to choose this little girl out, and now we give to her.
Yeah. It's like the kids now have like a little skin in the game.
Yeah.
Right? Like they have some personal investment, and it's something that when you have that investment, you can care.
Yeah.
Like it's not just something somebody's telling you to do or whatever. So it kind of, I was just reading over this story, and it's a great story, absolutely. But one of the reasons why we picked it was because there was something similar that happened in the kids ministry. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we have a campus in Malawi. The pastors, Ted and Ida, they're awesome. I decided that I felt like the kids needed to learn what generosity was. Obviously, tithe is important in the church, but I feel like for kids, it's sometimes hard to explain what tithing is without actually like giving them an experience. And so I felt like we were supposed to give to a kid in need. And so I kind of talked to Pastor Jason about like, where could I give? And I was thinking Compassion International. I was thinking things like that. And then Pastor Jason was like, well, why don't you just ask Ted and Ida if there's a kid in Malawi at our campus
That's cool.
that we can give to. And so I was like, all right. So I reached out to Ted and Ida, and they had given me a name of a kid named Joseph. And he needed a lot of stuff, but he needed water and food and an education and a Bible and books and clothes, like just everything he needed. And so in kids, the way to get kids to want to participate is by making it not a game, but a challenge. And so I said, if the boys reach $500 before the girls.
Oh, and pin boys against girls.
And
that's also how
so we pin boys against girls, because that makes it more intense.
I immediately was like, where's my money? We're going to beat the girls.
You got them. You got to. And so I said, if the boys reach $500, they get to pie me and the lead pastor and Pastor Jason in the face.
Wow.
And then I said, or if the girls reach $500 before the boys, they get to pie. But I said, whoever loses has to just watch. Like the boys don't get to participate, the girls don't get to participate if they don't do it.
Yeah.
And so there's like a challenge to it, but also it was this idea that although there's a challenge to it, we got to see the fruit of it. And I think that it not only changed my perspective of it, but I think there was a lot of parents impacted by it, because I had a lot of parents who were coming to me at first who were like, why are you asking kids to give my money to them? To you, you know? But it was when I got to explain to the parents, I mean, I had it was really awesome stories, but I had kids come in and give me $90.
Wow.
And I had a mom come up to me and say, hey, we knew that you were doing this for this kid. My son has been saving for something he's wanted forever. He went and got right into his piggy bank, gave me $90.
Wow.
And it was kind of like this moment of like this next generation wants to see a movement, and we got to give them opportunities. And so with that, we didn't reach, not either of them got $500 yet. We're still in the process of doing that. But we had started in about May, and I wanted it to go to August so we could give him money because he was going for school, and so books and all that stuff. And so at the end of August, we had just sent $250, which is what we raised in that, which for kids, first through fourth grade, was awesome.
Yeah.
And so we had sent $250-ish to them. And I didn't think much about it. I was kind of like, oh, I don't really know what that's going to do for them. And then we received a video back from Ted with Joseph. And with the $250 that we gave, he was able to get clothes for the entire year for school.
Whoa.
He was able to get all of the books he needed. He was able to get all of the food and water they needed for the rest of the year.
Wow.
With the $250 that the kids gave, and he was able to get a new Bible.
And you said that was only half of your goal?
And it was only half of my goal. And it was only half of my goal for one group of the kids. So I gave $250 just from the combined, and that was separated by boys and girls. And so just that minimal impact, I got to play that video for the kids, and they had all the clothes laid out in the video and all the things that those kids were able to get for him. And it just was like this moment of like, you guys just gave this family everything they needed for the rest of the year to live off for the next, there was only 3-4 months left of the year. But that got them all the food and the water they needed for it.
Well, and they were giving with this view of like, I have to pie Logan in the face.
Yeah,
like I must pie Logan in the face. Like that is my absolute goal.
Yeah.
But then when they got to see that video, I'm sure it put it into perspective. Like they're like, oh my gosh, like this is actually really what we're doing.
Yeah.
So was that an interest? Like when you got to play that video, did you see any of that? Like any kids with perspective changes?
Yeah, I think there were some of the older kids, like the fourth graders in my room, who were like, "That's what I gave to." Obviously, some of the first graders who would give, they would still give good money, but I think for them they were like, "I don't really know what this is for."
Like,
I just want to pie Logan.
Yeah.
But it was really cool because we got to play that video in the main room, and when they did that, I had a lot of parents come up to me. And it changed their perspective because we were doing it not for, give your tithe to the church. It was, no, give your tithe because Joseph is needing things. And we don't understand from the American perspective how much $250 is for a kid in Malawi. Yeah. Like that's huge for them. Because when I said to Ted and Ida, I don't have as much as I wanted. I have $250. Here it is, which not more than I wanted. I was wanting $500 from the total, but it was a great amount. And Ted and Ida were like, that is an awesome amount for him to have.
Yeah.
And so
when I think like even that, I think you're going to see that as the kids get older, that impact is actually going to be longer lasting, because the other part about like kids, like you're dealing with, what is it, first through fourth?
Yeah.
First through fourth graders don't understand when you go to American Eagle and buy buy jeans.
Yeah.
Here that's, $50, $60 or whatever. Like, they don't have that full grasp of what food costs for a year here, what water costs for a year here. Like, because they're kids. They don't understand that. But I believe even as they're going to become like teenagers and stuff like that in that age, looking back on that story of understanding, we paid for his clothes for a year, we paid for his food for a year, his water for a year. Like, there's so much impact that they have yet to discover just because they're still naive in the fact of knowing what it costs for us to live.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
And a lot of that you don't even understand until you become an adult and you're like, it's so expensive just to live life.
Yeah, like $250 is probably 2 or 3 weeks at Costco.
Yeah,
like a food
for sure.
Like
and like, I think that's the other thing is like, could you imagine if somebody came alongside of you and was like, hey, I'd like to pay for your food for a year? what?
Yeah.
Like that would be like mind blowing
Yeah.
to us. And so for that family, for Joseph and his family to receive that, I can only imagine like what that really meant for them. Like having somebody come alongside and just like, we're going to provide your food for this year, your clothes for this year, your water for this year. I can only imagine. And so I think just for the kids, it's going to even be like there's still more that they're going to even realize as they get older, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think of like Paul talking about becoming a joyful giver.
Yeah.
And when I think of that, I'm like, now my mind is going to the kid who was saving for something he wanted, right? And then went and took all the money that he'd saved so far and gave it to this.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'm just wondering, you said you guys are still working on this.
Yeah.
Have you seen like the attitude shift or like the behavior shift kind of that's going from like, oh yeah, I'm giving, like it's fun or whatever, to like a joyful giver?
Yeah, I think I saw that. And it specifically when they didn't know like realistically what they were giving to, you could kind of tell. Like they were giving, there was a lot of kids who were like, oh, now I do chores so that I can give. Yeah. And it was like, oh, that's cool. And they were like, I just feel like I'm supposed to do this. But then when they got to see Joseph, you could tell there was a lot of like, I'm giving. Now I'm giving not only to Logan, I'm now giving because this kid got what he needed.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. There was a shift. But the hard thing now is all those fourth graders that were in my room are now in a different class, which is sad. But
now they're with Hunter.
So that's a little more tough now.
Yeah.
But we have more money we want to send to Joseph, and I've got more money, and then I'll show the kids now who are in my room, and it might change that shift again. But
that's
it's
awesome.
It was really cool to see.
That's super cool.
I also just think there's probably a difference when you actually see the fruit of what you're planting, right? And like that's kind of what we're trying to do with these stories is like we're getting to see like they're getting to send in stories of where they planted the seeds, but then we're also getting to see like some of them had instant fruit.
Yeah.
Right? Like Sienna seeing this girl who has the same birthday, who now she immediately wants to write a letter to and is getting to send money to. Like you're already seeing fruit in Sienna's life, even though they haven't got to see the fruit of that other girl's life yet, right? But they got to see that fruit. Where for these kids, like they now got to see the fruit of that for Joseph, like having the clothes out there, the food, all that stuff. But I guarantee the parents got to see the fruit of what that looked like for the kids, right?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're wanting to empty the dishwasher to earn like all of a sudden they're, instead of going and spending their $5 at the coffee shop, now they're wanting to give that to Joseph, or instead of buying the $90 thing, the parents were getting to witness the fruits of that in their own kids' lives. And so I just think that's so cool. Like, and I'm sure that connection being made when they actually saw Joseph was then like, oh, okay, like that's the fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really loved about the whole thing was there was a ton of parents who came up to me who said one of their favorite things that we've ever done in that room is give to Joseph, and their kids talk about it all the time.
That's awesome.
And so that's just also like we're trying to raise a generation to be generous. Yeah. And that's how. So.
Yeah, I feel like it really opens the door to like discipleship and it is like actually creating legacy. Like in the moment, it's creating legacy, and I think that's super cool. So I think we're about at the end, but I was wondering, you mentioned that there was like the transition from like your class to your class. Have you noticed any of this stuff, like kids wanting to give? Or
I think there was. I do remember at one point. Now it's been kind of like a real shuffle because we had so many kids move up, and then they're on 2 different days and all that stuff. But I do remember I don't remember who it was, but I do remember a kid asking if we were giving to Joseph. And at that moment, I was like, I didn't even know he was still giving to Joseph. Like I thought they reached their goal. I had no idea, to be completely honest. And but I never saw a pine, so I guess I should have known.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's what Logan's room is doing, and I didn't even think about it. But that's actually something cool if we were able to actually like come alongside you guys and help raise and stuff like that. Like,
which, by the way, I haven't even said this. In total, for Joseph, we've raised like I think $780 something.
Holy cow!
And that's obviously we've split it, so they have about $500 gold, but we've raised about $700 for Joseph in that room, and that's through first through fourth graders.
Yeah, so. Which I don't think we've really done this before, but maybe a small plug for some of these organizations or whatever. I was surprised. So I've never really looked into like the adoption, like because it's not like actually adopting a kid or whatever, but it's like it's called adoption, and it's basically committing to send money and stuff.
Some
like
of us
that.
just learned that today.
Yeah. No names given.
No
Hunter.
names needed.
He's like, you just adopted a kid. That's
I was
crazy.
I was literally
for
thinking, I was like,
$55.
well, I was thinking, well, maybe they should be on this podcast if they literally are going through an adoption process after this. But okay.
Well, no, my point though is that I actually was surprised. They said that the adoption, like the financial part of it was $43, and then they gave the extra as a gift and all that stuff. I didn't realize it was so cheap.
Yeah.
Like, because then is that like the monthly kind of minimum? Is like the $40 or $45?
Yeah, I think so.
So I mean, if you're watching this and you don't know how to give, or you're looking for a way to be generous, I mean, Compassion International is obviously a great way to go, or even like locally, Adult and Teen Challenge. I know they're not kids, but the women that come in there that are coming out of really, really difficult and challenging times. We just went to one of their galas, and they were talking about it's not called adoption, but it's the same thing, and it's like $45 a month.
Yeah.
And so that's super inexpensive, actually. I think most of us can probably fit that into our budget.
Yeah. And it's cool when you give in those type of organizations, because I think there's a lot of times where people want to give because they want to see the fruit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't see the fruit in that circumstance, but if you're wanting to give and see fruit, these are ways I feel like you can give to kids through that, or through Teen Challenge.
Totally.
And those are people who come to our church, and you're making a difference.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you guys for jumping on this one. Thanks for letting us pick your brain a little bit about Joseph. That's such an awesome thing. So yeah, we'll be praying over Joseph and over the kids ministry, and it's just so exciting to see these next generations just leaning in to generosity and just wanting to, whether they fully understand it or fully know it, it's just super cool to see them taking that step and sowing seed into their communities and into their future, honestly. So that's cool. Thank you for watching. Thanks for joining us for this episode. We hope that you keep up with these stories, and we'll see you on the next episode.